yesterday and the day before, everyone would change their schedule. So it definitely has time.
Yeah. He uses that in
Yes. So, Oddfellows is
Gentlemen, how you doing?
Before we get started, just want to remind everyone about the rules and regulations that we have in place. Also, as I mentioned last month, I said that I was going to require a mask, everyone to wear a mask, please. If you do not have a mask, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. If you don't have one, I have a few here. I have a few here that need ones. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. Only have one piece of equipment to report that's out for repairs. Everything else is fine. And that's all I have to report. For that, this time of the year. Any questions?
No mosquitoes, no nothing, so you good? to
No,
go.
I mean, that's what I mean. Wait, it's coming. They're coming.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Martin is here.
Any questions?
Mr. Martin is
Alrighty, well, nobody has anything for Mr. Allen, then I think go about the business, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, we'll have the street commissioner, Mr. Gilbert Osley.
Just want to report that we still cut grass in some places, like I-10, Highway 90, and a few parks. We did some routine repairs on some driveways. We did, a little bit of coal patching in some areas. We installed culverts that Mike began on Hart. We built 2 catch basins, cut down 3 trees around the storms, 3 of them. We did some tree trimming at Martin Luther King Park, and as usual, picked up trash in the group. Right?
Alright, anybody got anything for Mr. Gilbert? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Franklin.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Gilbert, are you involved at all with the streets that are being scraped and going on? That's not
No,
true,
ma'am.
that's just the, okay, thank you.
Alright, thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate it. Next up, we'll have, city engineer, Mr. Tim Maker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you all have a copy of my engineer's report. And also, you'll notice that the Public Works Committee agenda has action items. I was requested last month to add action items to the agenda that are otherwise embedded in my report. So I'll kind of go back and forth. I'll bring up the action items, and if at any point you want to stop me on an item that's updated, I'll do that as well. If you start with my report and turn to page 2, the topic is going to be drainage and street improvements on page 2, and the update and action is on page 3. And under action items in the agenda, you will see it says to consider approving partial payment estimate number 19 under the Southern Constructors contract for the citywide drainage improvements project. Back on my report, you see the status. Partial payment estimate number 19, as of January 31st, the contract was 91% complete by time, 92% complete by cost. The partial payment estimate number 19 estimates that the total value of work done through January 31st is $4,072,482.58. We are withholding $203,624.13 for labor and material needs. So the total amount due is $296,748.66. And the action requested is to approve partial payment estimate number 19 in the amount of $296,748.66.
I'll make that motion as read.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Ford. Discussion? I do have one thing. Tim, I got a call yesterday, had to go out to, Grady Coulard Drive, and there was an elderly lady there, and she was pretty upset because, you know, the ditches are really, really bad. Really deep over there, and, she was told by one of the, I guess it was Southern Construction people that, oh no, it's gonna be level, it's gonna be filled in, you don't have to worry about it, it's not gonna be a big ditch, but I went back and looked at my sheet, and actually that is gonna be an open ditch, and so she, you know, it's an 88-year-old lady, she was pretty upset, but once I explained to them, you know, why it was done that way and what their options were, they just get culverts put in there, and they were okay, so I think they're gonna go with the culvert option, but it just, you know, if you could maybe talk to whoever it is with Southern Constructors and tell them that, you know, they should be telling the residents that it's gonna be all fixed and it's all gonna be nice and neat. If there's gonna be a big ditch there and they're gonna have to deal with it, and, you know, their option's gonna be either put a culvert at their own expense or set the ditch leave as it is, so.
I'll
anyway.
pass that on to us.
Yes, sir, Mr. Martin.
Y'all gotta excuse my voice, I still haven't recuperated, I guess it is what it is. Yeah, the reason why you got that phone call, they had called me about it, and I told them, I said, well, look, we do things by proportion, okay? And we follow our guidelines. In other words, we skipped off the boy and go to the pope. So basically what I did, I told her, well, she had one of her nieces or someone called me, and I told them, talk to the chair. Okay, because basically I don't wanna, call Tim, go over your head, and the first thing you say, why didn't you come talk to me? So with that being said, I think that's, something that we need to start utilizing a lot more. That way when, someone do hear about it, the chair should be the one to make the necessary phone calls or emails or texts or whatever. But, I was out there today and I'm gonna tell you, man, they working. But let me tell you something here, bro. I don't know what the end game gonna be, but if there's anything like what's going on right now, they gonna have a problem. One thing I can tell you right now, Tim, have you seen the elevation of some of the culverts?
You know what they are.
And no, I'm saying, did you see the elevation, how are they gonna stay that low?
You have to tell me where you are. I have to look.
Well, the road that goes to, I call it Westwood Drive, but that's not the name, what's going to Westwood? No, Great Boulevard runs into, this is, well, yeah, Marcel Thomas. Oh, because basically we had one of the tenants, they had called about them destroying their sidewalks, driveways, and I told them, well, they gonna fix that. Okay. Well, I can tell you right now, he's not too happy with it turned out. I mean, like I tried to explain to him, you got old and you got new. Okay, it should have been a way for them to either break in maybe a little further, just to try and smooth it out. I know aftermath is the aftermath, but at the end of the day, these people are used to pulling out their driveways and not worrying about bumps or whatever it may be. So I'm just thinking, think ahead, before they pour any other driveways or whatever. You might want to get with the homeowner and talk to him about it. All right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, it looks like the water's gonna run east and then actually run north, just south to that ditch back there. And it's pretty deep, so I can see where it's gonna be problems trying to cut those ditches and stuff, but that's just the nature of the beast, that's all. Just shrink up.
Any concern that you have to meet with anyone out there and look at the particular situation and maybe put your mind at ease if there's more to be done and maybe it won't be the way you see it today when it's all finished. It just depends on where you are.
Mr. Mayor, at what point in the construction do you actually go on site and oversee the projects?
We have an inspector there all day, every day, and keep.
From your office?
Yes.
Okay. On all the projects that are,
Yes.
okay.
And that individual communicates through our construction coordinator and me as required.
Yes, ma'am?
Didn't you happen to have the address of that lady?
What's that name?
1721.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but what is her name? What is her name?
Sharon.
I didn't get her name.
Because of me.
I think it's Sharon.
Lewis?
1721 Grady Boulevard or Marcel Thomas?
Great Boulevard.
No, it comes off of,
Sharon and Clyde, which is in the yeah. Okay. Any more
this is
discussion?
another one right here.
All in favor?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so, well, this was another address that I'm talking about,
Oh, okay.
so you'll be getting a call from me. But, like I say, progress can be, we all know what progress is, but the problem with it, the end game, you gotta come up with, Tim, is there any way, I know we sometimes do it, that you can, I know you got your classes and everything, but a little show and tell what it looked like afterwards. You know, I'm pretty sure it's a uniform thing, the way they approach their driveways or whatever. You know, give people an idea of what it's gonna look like. Because let me tell you something, man, you ain't getting no good reports from the work. You know, maybe the dust, whatever, maybe, road closure, but, phone ringing off the hook, and I just tell them, I said, well, we gotta wait till the end. And if there's something wrong at the end, then we'll come back, but I'm glad to know that you have somebody over there every day. So,
I think it was just such a drastic change because they were used to parking over the ditch, and now there's no way they're gonna park over that 2-foot ditch, but I told her that's the reason why it wasn't draining, because it wasn't a ditch there. Yeah, so, I understand, but everything's okay, once I explain it. Any other
And
questions?
you might wanna I don't know, are they gonna raise the, I guess the area around the culvert, are they gonna raise it back up to street level?
It just depends on where you are, so I need to look at it specifically.
Well, it's down Marcel Thomas, because the way it is, it's like this now. Okay, you're coming off the road, then the culverts are like sinking, and the groundwork is all right there.
Let me meet you out there and I can answer your question.
Okay, we can do that.
Just give me a call.
All right. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Indeed.
Okay, on page 4, the topic there is at the big D in the left margin, the bond issue. Just want to let you know that the consultants that we are working with, Whitney Laird and Sean Toops, are expecting the bond sale to take place early or mid-February. No action, just a report there. Turn to page 5, where you see the F in the left column, contract A, that's the Glen Leger construction contract, the overlay, action overlay project. You see the status at G, and the action that I'm going to take is on partial payment estimate number 4. As of January 25th, the contract was 54% complete by time, 9% complete by cost. Partial payment number 4 has a total value of work done through January 25th at $643,407.09. The amount of $32,170.35 is withheld for retainage, and the total amount due is $101,541.30. And the council action requested is to approve partial payment estimate number 4 in the amount of $101,541.33.
I'll make that motion to Brett.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Martin. Discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Ford.
Tim, I was informed recently about damage to a vehicle associated with the grinding of the street near the sewer mains. The transition, I guess, with the asphalt ground, it was abrupt.
Mr. Young,
No.
I got a call from Mr. Young asking if the same condition, we put him in touch with the contractor.
Okay, so that's what it is.
But anybody that experiences something like that, if they'll call me, call
Okay.
our office, we will tell them who to get in touch with so that that claim can be posted with the contractor.
Very good. Thank you so much.
You got a name for this one?
Yeah, it's Meg, Eichmann.
Okay. In case she calls me.
Any, Mr. Strickland?
I had one as well, so anyone that has a problem with any of the street, like she did a manhole, you know, it was different.
If there's damage,
Call,
for instance, the one I got was a tile blew out, I think the rim was damaged, so there's a cost damage. So we put that person in touch with the contractor so that they can get into their risk management department.
so they need to contact you, then you'll contact them.
That's the way to do it.
Okay. And
Madam Chair,
Al, I'm at committee meeting, call you
I just want to remind everybody too that if, to make sure that it is involved with the grinding and the contractors that are doing the work, that there are some potholes elsewhere. And that way it can be turned in separately, that can be turned into just you.
If there's any doubt, start with me, and then we'll figure out which way it goes.
Mr. Clement?
Yeah, Tim,
the disparity between the cost and time percentage was to do with, days off from the weather?
That has a lot to do with it, especially in winter.
Or you expected an addendum to that?
I would think so, but he'll catch up once he starts his actual overlay work, that it goes quickly. A lot of asphalt is put down in day's time, so he'll catch up with, monetarily, he'll catch up with the time. Yes.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And by the way, that was action item 2 on the public works agenda. Okay, next topic is item 3 on action item under public works agenda, awarding contracts for the fiscal year 21-22 material purchases. We're bidding that project, by the way, that's covered on page 7 at item M. We're taking bids this Friday, the 4th. That's why I didn't have a bid tabulation to report to you today, but I'll have it fully tabulated and reported to you on Wednesday next week. So I'd like the agenda and the minutes to reflect that we would be awarding the contracts for the fiscal year 21-22 material purchases in accordance with recommendations that we will present on the night.
I'll make that motion to forward it to the full council.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Court. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
That concludes the action items. I have no further action to bring up or request of you, and everything else is updates.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other items coming for the Public Works Committee? In the Public Works Committee recess.
Thank you, Mr. Fraser. And the Utilities Committee, Mr. Martin. Glad to see you doing better.
Well, not so much better, but thank God I'm here. One second. Let's see, we have a quorum. Mike, I'm sorry. Public Works are now, we have a quorum present. We start with our wastewater superintendent, Tim Craig.
Good afternoon. During the month of January, we had 283 Louisiana one-call locate requests. 127 of those were updated tickets for ongoing construction work, projects that are within the city. There were 38 work orders filed for the month. During the month, we pulled a pump at 8th Street pump station that was clogged with flushable wipes and some other rag material. That was cleaned out, put back in service, and it's running today. At Magnolia, we had to pull a pump there. After cleaning the pump, we found that the shaft was broke. So it's been sent to the shop to see what internal damage might have happened. The main pump station, which is on the end of West 9th Street, last Thursday, we pulled 2 pumps out of there because they were running slow. Both were clogged. After we removed everything from there, one had a bolt that was sheared. It caused the impeller just to run, don't pump. The other one, the shaft was broke. The company that we purchased it from picked them up. Not so before, when we had a shaft break, it was under warranty. These 2, they're still looking into that. We had, that left us with 2 at the time. Monday, we installed one that I had at the shop. So as of right now, we're running, waiting to hear what type of repair is going to occur, if it's feasible for us to repair it.
How many do you have reserves?
I have that one that we had at the shop was put in. We are looking at, getting pricing, but I can tell you that, ordering a new pump, could be anywhere between 3 months, 4 months. We ordered one, October the 6th, and, we have not received that one yet. So,
Yeah, but
we know that it's allowed anywhere between 6 and 12 weeks, with COVID at the manufacturers across the country. We just don't know when we'll get it. I'm waiting on a return call from that vendor. He didn't get back with me before I came today, so.
yeah, but I would think the prudent thing to do, I mean, you know it's gonna take that time. If you need another backup, I think you prudent go ahead and just order another, that way you get on the list.
We have that, option. We just, I don't wanna put 2 or 3 ahead, sitting at the shop. I mean, I'll keep one. Usually if we can't repair it, I'll know within 3 days and we'll get that order, a new pump on order, where we can get it. I'm kind of put the heat on the vendor that gets the bid, or the quote. Hey, look, I need a pump, you know, that's kind of what I did with this other one, so.
Yeah, but I still know, I think if you, it's always good to have backup. Well, 2 of them go down at one time.
But it's very unlikely that it happened, but it did. I mean, there's no turning back that it, you know, I've never seen it happen before. Let me say it like that.
No, if you're satisfied, I'm good.
But right now, yeah, that station, is calibrated to run 3 pumps, during a heavy rain event. Normally, it's 1 pump in a cycle, so it's pretty good with that. Other than that, that's all I really have. Give you a look, when they pull those pumps at their shop, they're gonna drop them down, they're gonna look, they're gonna check the windings, the bearings. If all that's, looks good, we can have it back within 3 or 4 weeks, you know, so that's what I'm hoping for.
So they actually overhaul the pumps themselves?
Yeah, just depending on for example, if the 48 horse pump costs, give or take, say 15,000, if it costs 10 to repair it, it's really not feasible for me to do if I could spend that 15, get a new pump,
Right.
and have that extra leeway in warranty, you know, so, we're hoping for the best.
Hmm.
But that's in my report, I don't have much other than that.
Anybody got any questions? Thank you, Tim.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Tim Miller, your show.
Thank you, sir. The only action item, and it's really not an action item, it's the anticipation of an action item. On page 18, the ARPA projects, which are the ammonium nitrogen media replacement and the ultraviolet disinfection system replacement project. Those are shown there on page 18. And we are in the procurement, I reported this to you last month, we're in the procurement phase where, according to the federal regulations, the city has to put the projects out for interested engineering firms to respond. If they want to apply for the project, they have to do so by a certain date. The date that they have as a deadline is next Tuesday, the 8th. So we don't have anything to present to you tonight in terms of who would have applied and a recommendation on who you should hire. To be completely frank, I don't think we're gonna expect firms to apply because they know you have a city engineer. Cities that have city engineers are ordinarily gonna go with their city engineer, even if they get applications from other companies, because those other companies won't be able to compete with the experience they have with that municipality. It's all about how much does that engineering firm know about your utilities, about your treatment system, et cetera. But there may be some responses, we don't know that. If we get it, we'll report that to you. I say we will, that'll have to be reported by your city clerk. We aren't involved, we can't be involved in the process, but I can tell you that city clerk has advertised for it, it's been on the webpage. So the word is out there for other firms to respond. We responded, obviously. So that will be an agenda item on your meeting agenda, not in my engineering report on next Wednesday. And so no action items other than that.
So Tim, I guess a couple of weeks ago, we went to the workshop that they had about the ARPA funds, and one of the subjects that they had, for the midwinter conference coming up on the 22nd of this month, they're gonna have a presentation on it also, but understand that now that the final code of federal regulations has come out since, January the 6th, I think, and, we were kind of under the impression that the only thing that we were gonna be able to spend money on was infrastructure, but it opened it up a whole lot more, and I'm looking forward to other council members attending that workshop in Baton Rouge and listening, and hopefully, we can get some more insight on what exactly we can do with these ARPA funds, but, it sounds like it's pretty open now that we could pretty much do what we want with them. I don't know if you've heard those or attended those or not, but, anyway, I just wanna say that I encourage the council members here, if you go to the midwinter conference, to attend that one, because it's very, very, very interesting. There's a lot of information that came out on that.
That's a good recommendation, I would do that, yes.
Yeah, but, sorry, just to harp on what you just said. If y'all remember at the last meeting or meeting before, when I asked about using it for other things, conversation was coming up then that it would be opened up. Because, I was there telling some people over that I know in Baton Rouge, there's too much money. And you can't stifle a city to just put it on just, certain things. At the time, we had a lot of debate because you know where most of the money wants to go at, New Orleans and big cities. I explained to them, say, we just a small municipality, but guess what, we got needs too. So, that workshop would definitely be something that we see. And what's good about it, when you attend these workshops, you come back with a hands-on approach. I call it skipping out the boy and going to the pope. Okay, literature that you get, you got questions, they don't mind sitting, putting a little time. And I think that's something that, there's a lot of stuff that Crowley needs. A lot of money's there, I don't think that's what you get it and get it done. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah?
Thank you, Jim. Mr. Mayor, you said that, this was advertised on the website. Is this the city website or? Okay.
I didn't see it.
It is, Mayor?
I'm gonna assume yes.
All right, thank you.
And, Mr. Chair, the class that Mr. Craig was talking about is with the Louisiana Legislative Auditors. And I did reach out to our auditor after that class, and Mr. Craig is correct to a certain extent. However, it is still very technical, it's very complicated, and but there's going to be some different categories that you're going to have to pick from, and that you're going to be able to spend money in those categories up until a certain amount. And like Mr. Baker said earlier, that it is required by federal law that we have to make sure that we have every single invoice of every transaction that what we're doing, we have to keep up with that. So, but they are going to offer a class, and if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer as much as I can with the information that I have.
But Mayor, if you think about it, I'm sorry, can you follow? Every category that's brought up, the city can use money in. Every category. Okay? So basically, if we apply for every, I always say if you ask for some, you get some. But if you ask for it all, you might get some. So, well, with that being said, I appreciate that. And logistics is what it is. When you're using federal money, state money, you gotta dot your I's and cross your T's. Okay? You spend $1, they wanna know where it's going. So I appreciate the fact that you brought it up. I'm sorry, Kim.
Thank you, Jim. Mayor, and who is our auditor again?
Coder, Slavin,
Okay.
City auditor. But Mayor, you sounded like you said the legislative, our legislative body.
actually, the Louisiana legislative auditor was the one that was given the class that he's referring to, that we went to. And, they were given the class and giving us all the preliminaries, and it was a quick class.
Right.
And, you know, it had some good information, but it is really a lot more detailed than what just brief information that we got.
Yeah, but just clarify, unless I heard it wrong, I thought you said that you had spoken to our legislative body.
I'm sorry, our auditor,
I think that's who you are from Kim.
our auditor, that's who she's asking.
No, but you had mentioned, yes, unless I heard it wrong, I might have not heard it wrong.
No, I was just asking who our
Auditor.
auditor is. Is it still Rob Carter?
That's it? Any other questions? Kim?
That's all I have.
Okay, we have another action item over here. Nonetheless, other needed action items unknown at this time of agenda preparation. Is that something, Phil, did you put this together?
I put that there so that, since you wanted me to put in the action items, and I gotta report them, on Monday. If something comes up between Monday and Wednesday, I would come to you and say, I need you to add an item to the
Oh, okay.
agenda. So it's just to let everybody know that I may have more than what you have in front of you, but you would have to have a unanimous vote to allow it on your agenda.
So basically, it is there to make sure it stays in action.
It's there just to anticipate it could happen. It did not happen today.
Okay.
I didn't have anything to add since I reported the action items on Monday.
Okay, but, just for the future, I think it's a good thing, because if anything is actionable, we can go ahead with it. That makes a lot of sense. Now, when you do this right here, is it amended before, you come up, or after?
I would, at the beginning of my report, I would ask that you amend the agenda to add an item.
Oh, okay, so it would be an action of you. Okay, but what about if the council members have something? Is it just strictly for your privilege, or anybody on this council?
That's a good question.
Great question.
Now, and we are trying to, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Well, I won't explain it, I'm
And we are trying to clarify with Ms. Reagan as well. And I think you might hit the head on the nail on the head.
Did you recognize
Is
him?
that it very well?
Did you recognize him? Is he?
You recognize?
Yes, okay, yeah, go ahead, please. I need an answer on this.
And it very well may be, like you're saying, this could be an actionable item. See, because in the past, that he would have it on his report, right? He would have it on his report, and then you would consider it as an action item. But now he's doing it where he's doing it ahead of time on the, as Mr. Poole was asking at the last meeting, he's doing it ahead of time as an action item on his report.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I got no problem with it, Tim. I think this is fantastic. I just want clearance to see that it's just for your privilege, or any one of the council members can say, well, hold up, you know, there's a broken main on Fifth Street. We need to fix now. Okay? Can you put that on your agenda?
My understanding is a member of the council can ask to add an item to agenda, and if they get the majority, not the majority, but unanimous consent, anybody can ask for that.
But that's what I'm saying, but, so, this precedes, well, it don't precede normal protocol.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, well, that's something I was asking. No, but,
It's just to anticipate that I may have more, because the last time I was able to get an action item was on Monday.
oh, okay, so basically, like, when you bring,
Before I was doing it this way, I could add an item up to noon today, because I put it in my report before it was sent to you.
okay, so basically, this is a good thing, so that way you don't have the numbers at utility, at the committee meetings, and you have it for the regular meeting, and you need it, at that time, or something just came up, and you needed, action on it, so you'll be able to bring it in front of the council.
That's right.
All right, so, thank you, man.
It was unanimous.
Not to cause confusion, I was just wondering, because that's the first time I ever seen anything like that on the agenda.
No, that was there because I was asked to do it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I mean, this is good. Don't get me wrong, this is real good. It gives everybody flexible, speaking. Because you never know, like we talking about what's going on Greater Poulard. Well, had we known that this was what it is, we could have asked the question, well, Tim, can you go take care of this, that, and the other? And with a unanimous vote, it becomes law.
You did that without an item, you just asked me to look at it. That's not an action.
No, I'm just saying, I use that just as a little cliche, just trying to, FYI.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but this is good, man.
Thank you.
Okay, Tim, you got anything else?
That concludes my.
Okay, I got one question for you. I see that they're starting to take up a lot of the roads right now. What's the deal with that?
Take up the roads for, you talking about the overlay project?
Yeah,
So what's the question?
well, I mean, is it in effect right now? Because I've been driving around town, I'm pretty sure everybody have, and some roads are taken up or what have you. So that's part of the overlay program?
Yes, the milling is part of the overlay program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the milling we're doing basically on curb and gutter streets where we couldn't have added another 1.5 inches to 20 years ago, 1.5 inches, and had a 3-inch drop off at the gutter. So we're milling off the same thickness that we're gonna put down this time.
Okay, so just one question on that. I know someone else had a question. I know you went to see Avenue 8 between 7th and 8th Street. Matter of fact, you and I met over there, right by the 7th Street Canal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now that, and going down 9th Street as well, from Avenue, the middle of Avenue A, all the way down to what Avenue C maybe? Will that be like taken up to the core, I mean, to the base, or how gonna do that?
Specifically, I don't know on that right now, but that contract is being processed for execution. That's in contract B. So we're a long way before starting that project, so I can look at it again with you and let you know exactly what we're doing.
Okay, especially down Avenue A, is there any way, I don't know if Gilbert left or what have you, but Tim, when you get a chance, pass by it again, because they put it between Avenue 8, between 7th Street and 8th Street. Now, the problem that's over there, I'm not saying it's worse there than any other area of town, but every time they put cold mix down, Tim, if it rains, it comes right up. So I told him, I said, well, I don't know what to check. So, but if you could take a look at that, then I would appreciate it.
I will do that, yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, anything else to come before you tell us? Tim, that's it for you?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. Anything else to come before you tell us? On recess.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Next, Recreation Committee, Mr. Primo.
Recreation Committee will convene. First off, we'll have the Recreation Director, Peter Kirsch's report.
Good afternoon. Our youth basketball season is winding down. With the season ending next week, we were able to get 8 games per league for every team. One league, we were able to get 6, and we partnered up with Rain in that age group, low numbers in that particular age group. But it was a very successful season, and our numbers were up, as I had reported last month, by 60% in basketball participation this year over the last year that we had offered it. Our youth baseball softball program registration is still open, and it will remain open until February 13th. As always, anybody needing any help, give us a call at the Rice Festival Building, 337-788-4124, or come by and see us. We'd be happy to help out. If you're a fan of high school baseball, boy, have I got a deal for you this weekend. We have the Louisiana State Umpires Association, the Lafayette Association, is hosting their annual clinic in Crowley. And we have baseball that will be kicking off at Miller Stadium and Heritage Field at 10 a.m. First pitch, and they'll be playing baseball probably till 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. We have 3 teams from the Lake Charles area coming to Crowley. We have a team from New Iberia, Abbeville, Sulphur, Jennings, Gadon, Lafayette, and there's of course Notre Dame, Crowley High, and Northside Christian will be in action. Notre Dame will play at 10 a.m. in Miller. Crowley High will play at 4:30 at Miller, and Northside Christian will play at 4:30 at Heritage. So come out and root the local kids, and this is it, it's here. High school season kicks off. There'll be scrimmages, the season starts at the end of the month with regular season games. And it's on, it's here. The tournament season will kick off this weekend for us as well. Going from the high school into the kids. Next week, we have a junior high jamboree with the local teams coming in. And then we have our select stuff that we have scheduled for the year. So it's every weekend, starting this weekend until July 24th is what we have locked down as of today. We were also able during the week, I got the schedule in yesterday, to tap into our junior high league where our teams were going to play at Pelican Park in St. Julian and Broussard. We were able to negotiate a deal where we became the third host site for that league. So we'll be hosting all the junior high stuff, and that stuff starts on Monday night. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at the rec. So if you want to come see the future stars today, come check that out. We're also going to be starting our junior varsity baseball league at the end of this month. So this time last year, kind of in retrospect, we were fighting tooth and nail and weather and everything forces against us to finish one field, that was Miller, and get the high school guys cranked up. Now we have all 9 available to us, and the tournaments will reflect that, because we didn't get all 9 fields until June of last year. But now we're able to fill in those gaps from Sunday to Friday with the junior high league and the JV league. Also this year, we're starting our rec programs a little bit earlier than we've seen. And what we're trying to accomplish there is we want to carry the momentum from junior high baseball and softball into registration. Earlier baseball day means we can give the kids more practice time, which means we can then give them more games. We did not go up $1 as promised on our registration fees and the completion of this project. And as a matter of fact, we're trying to give more bang for the buck that they were already spending. So we're trying to make things last longer and get the kids involved and get them out there and enjoy what we have built for them. If baseball and softball is not your game, the Notre Dame tennis team kicked off their season yesterday. They hosted Eunice High School. The courts were full. So it's busy. Tonight we're experimenting with some things. We have an influx of private teams and schools that are renting the fields for their practices. We've got 7 out of 9 fields that are rented. 9 of the 9 fields are being used because we have high school baseball practice going on. So we're going to go ahead and open up our concessions on a trial run to see if we can capture some of that revenue that's in the park already. And I'll be happy to report next month how that's working out. If you pass by lately, and I mean lately as in between 12 and 3:30, the flagpole is up. And that's the flagpole that I want to thank the Lions Club for donating. It was in excess of, I think, around $20,000, pole and flag included. It is massive. I can sit here and tell you it's 80 feet tall, but you cannot appreciate 80 feet until you're standing next to it. I'm also happy and proud that we got the biggest flag in Crowley. The flag that was donated was 20 feet by 30 feet. That's 600 square feet. It's huge, and it's a beast. So we are planning a formal ceremony to dedicate the flag. I know we have a few members of the American Legion that came by. We're coordinating with the Lions Club to get a date hammered down, and as soon as we have that date for that, we'll pass the word out to you guys and gals. And I mean, this is going to be a big thing. From what I understand, I didn't realize there's a 21-gun salute. There's the plane of taps. So veterans, onlookers, everywhere, come see it. It's proud. It's a landmark. It's huge. So and coming with that, we're also planning to put some lights on it to light it up at night as well. Okay. Other than that, any questions?
Mr. Crater?
I just want to tell everybody when you go and look at it, make sure you take note of the base because it's actually a home plate that was great. I mean, I thought it was awesome when I saw it. That was a great idea.
Yes.
And also, I wanted to say something. I got a call yesterday from Mr. Rich Hughes about handicap access at the corners.
Yes.
And I went out there and looked at it with him, playground equipment in any of the park. I know he talked to you, and he's here tonight, but he's trying to get a steering committee together to pursue this, and I think it's a great idea, but I just want the rest of the council to know that that's something that's being looked at.
Yes.
And I think it's way overdue, and we really don't want to drop the ball on that. I think, I don't think any of us were really aware that wasn't handicap accessible in any of the park, but especially Levy Park, with all of the things that we have there. But just keep us updated on that,
Okay.
on that, and
Will do.
we appreciate it.
I know I spoke to Mr. Rich, the other day, yesterday or the day before, and he just kind of said, let's focus on the park and the wish list, and he and I will be meeting in the next couple of weeks to start the brainstorming. So anybody has any ideas, please contact myself or Mr. Rich, and we can get this stuff on paper and start moving forward.
I just wanted to say, that Mr. Nader, put me in contact with his, with one of his employees, a guy named Brett Bailey, I'm saying it right? And he is, certified basically, I guess, in, the ADA regulations. He met me down there the other day, and he came up with kind of a game plan of where the accessibility would be. So I think this kind of should be like a group effort of everyone, and honestly, the organization is called CASH. It stands for Crowley Accessibility and Support for the Handicap. So it's not going to be just an organization just for dealing with town issues, but also with private issues and funding, and we'll set up the 501c3, but I don't want to move that right now because I'm not reading it. We have half power is, and we want to make a presentation next week. So if that's right, if you would put me on the agenda for that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Martin.
You know, when I have to say this, and when I say it, I mean it. You're about the best thing that the city of Crowley have had. I'm getting wrong with the road show. Everybody has their place, they apply to it, whatever. But road show took it to a certain level. And to be honest with you, man, I was saying this is good, but you came along, and the way I go, man, you said Crowley. I said, man, how did I get a feel like that? I said, bro, you know what, devastation. But everything that you said, man, I agree with 100%. But I have a problem, man. And it has 3 letters, MLK. Same as I travel the state, people holler, yeah, Crowley this. But when I travel the city of Crowley, people talk. You know, and they have every right, because I made it clear to a few people, you know, they were debating the Rice Festival building and park grounds and everything. And it blew their mind when I told them, I said, we don't own the Rice Festival building. Well, hold. They said, what you mean? I said, well, I don't think the city has 100%. Maybe we do, I don't know. If we do, we have 100% ownership of the Rice Festival building? Okay, well, good. Okay. They had me thinking that that building is for the Rice Festival Association. I'm like, well, I know everybody uses it, but anyway, I digress. We got down to the real stuff. Summer's coming up.
Yes.
You know, this kids are starting to go out there. We need more campus. And I'm gonna hit the ball. I'm hitting the home run with this, man. The bathroom. Okay. Look, I'm not going there with what's, well, we know what that is. Peter, I'm gonna ask you to do this. And I hope that the full council will join me in this. That building, whether it's open or closed, the lights are on, HVAC is on, correct? Heating and cooling.
Yes, sir.
Okay. During the weekends, until we get our, restroom, which, I guess that's in public buildings or whatever, I don't cross, committees. Is there any way that Saturday and Sundays, until we get our own swinging doors and flushing toilets and hand washing, whatever it may be, that you can have that building open for people to use the restroom at their own, because let me tell you something, man, it broke my heart. They had a family out there, and they had a lady, elderly lady, okay? And I watched them try to get her into one of those toilets, and that's just not right. That's not right. So, on behalf of, I hope Byron is with me, which I know he is, and I hope the whole council's with me. I don't know what it's gonna take, but you know, you say the concession's going real well, we've written out the field. I don't know what it takes for someone to be there, you know, on those 2 days. You set your own time. I'm not even gonna worry about, if possible, you might wanna open it up at 12 until 7, or whatever it may be. Because I don't think I could stand seeing that type of eulogy out there. I just can't.
And not an unreasonable request, what I would ask for you and Mr. Woodridge is can we get together and let's set a time frame that will have the building accessible.
Okay.
You know, like for certain hours of operation from like a 4-hour gap. And I can make arrangements for someone to be there to have it open. I don't think it would be feasible to have someone there at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No, that's what I'm saying. You, in other words, and I hope Byron is with me on this, you make hours. You know, I mean, if you got someone working, and this is a part-time job for them, we want to accommodate their time that they off from the other job. We don't want them leaving the other job, you understand, just to be a babysitter of the, put it what it is, the toilets. Okay, but if you can do that, you have my number, I'm pretty sure you have my numbers, and all the council members. I want everybody to put them in intake. But, and then the lights. Is there anywhere we can get lights on this field? We had talked about it.
We had talked about it, and the price that I had gotten on that, and this was, I don't know, 6 or 7 months ago, it was gonna be like upwards of $100,000 to reinstall those lights. It's my advice, it's my professional opinion, that to spend $100,000 to reinstall lights that are 20, 25 years old, I think that money would be better spent to look at something more modern.
Well, that's right. I mean, whatever it takes, because, I think they would be starting the kickball and all this other stuff, and I wouldn't have any problem getting out there with some of these kids and just, you know, just let them have a fun day. You know, they're going to school from Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday until, summer comes. You know, let them know that, yeah, we got something for y'all as well. Everything inside is not a problem. Basketball, whatever, volleyball, that's not a problem. But I think the kids would be more, shall we say, energetic if they're outside. And I appreciate if you can do that for me, that's good. But other than that, man, look, everything is perfect with you, so.
Okay.
And I appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Stringfellow?
Thank you, Chair. Peter, since we're not gonna use those old lights, what would we do with those? Are they salvageable enough to possibly sell to someone else, or? Okay.
Yeah, I'm compiling a list of what we have, that as far as the lights go, old equipment that we had to maintain the natural service fields, all of those things. And that'll come before you as a council to declare surplus and move on to auction or another entity that may approach us that's interested at that point.
Okay.
To make it an offer.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
City Engineer, Tim Nader.
You have my written report, I have no action items, just that update.
Can
That's all I
I
have.
ask the chair, can I ask Tim a question?
Mr. Martin?
Tim, I'm pretty sure you into this, I think he's talking about an update item. How many years back do you think, it went to, when is the LED lights? What type of lights they have? I'm not talking about, you know, the brand new ones. was the lights that was taken down from Miller Stadium, which type of lights are those?
That'd be incandescent.
Oh,
You know, there's some old record there, they're very old.
yeah, while you're on computer, you see one of your colleagues saying, we're taking down the field, if anybody want lights, give us a shout out.
I'll be able to look it up.
Thank you, man. But just with that being said, how much you looking at, you said 100,000. How much would new lights run about?
Not knowing how many, it's hard to tell you, but if refurbishing the old is 100,000, I think you could probably look at double that for new lights, just off the top of my head. Same amount of poles and same amount of lumens.
So a couple would light up that area.
Yeah, it'd be a good idea just to have somebody take a look at it and give you a good number that you can count on.
Right.
That wouldn't take much.
And who would install them? Trico probably?
If you could get that done, it would probably save a lot of that $200,000.
Well, if we can get an MOU with Trico, would that cut some of the cost?
You could, yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anything else for Rec? I will recess.
Thank you, Mr. Primo. Next, Mr. Bowman, zoning and annexation.
Thank you. Zoning and annexation will convene, all members are present. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything for us?
Oh, no.
All right. Action item 1, upon consideration of the favorable recommendation of the Crowley Planning Commission to approve the re-subdivision of property as shown on preliminary and final plat located at lots 3, 4, and 5 of Acadia Oaks subdivision, Crowley, Acadia Parish, Louisiana, shown as tract A and B on a plat of survey prepared by Bear Land Survey. I don't have a copy of the plat, and I'm not sure what's happening here.
Is this the front?
No,
This is in mine.
Does anybody know anything about it?
No,
That's-
this is my neighborhood.
Yes, it is, and I want to see that. Mr. Tony, do you happen to have a copy of the plat for that first item, of Acadia Oaks subdivision?
You have something for Acadia Oaks, what they're trying to do? A plat?
Yes, a re-subdivision.
You have it with you? Can we see it? We just don't know anything about it. Who owns this one? Do you know? Who? And who's wanting to create 2 big lots?
Yes.
Okay, just for explanatory, I'll pass this around. On Willow Oaks Drive, there's 4 lots, or actually 3 lots. 3 lots that they're wanting to create into 2 large lots. It's R1, right? Across the street from you?
No, Chair, I didn't have any idea, I don't have a problem with it, but my problem is that we weren't given the plat ahead of time, as usual, and, you know, I'm sure we could study it between now and next week, but that's just, you know, yeah, I would like to be informed, you know, ahead of time and not right at the meeting 2 seconds before. So that's my only thing, especially because it's right across the street from me, so.
Anything to add to it, Tony? No?
As far as
the re-subdivision is actually gonna create larger lots. So, utilities are all, accessible. It's really a simple.
Let me ask you a question. The way that subdivision's set up now, you cannot split a lot, can you? Like build on a lot and a half.
Yes.
Can you?
Yes.
Unless you do what's being
Well,
done
Yeah,
now.
correct.
Unless you
Unless you
do,
own both two lots.
yeah, see,
But you
that's,
can't
that's,
split, you can't split the original lot.
right, without having a re-subdivision or a
Correct.
redivision.
Exactly.
Somebody wants to build bigger than one lot,
Right.
so they're creating a new lot to be 1.5 lots. Okay, given the recommendation and what the objective is, I would so move.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just one. All right, now these lots there have already been. Okay, that's fine. So, they just have someone bought another lot, that's, I guess Mr. Havens owned the subdivision, right? Does he own all of the property?
He owns the 3 lots,
So all he's actually do is enlarging the lots?
correct. He's making 2 instead of 3.
Okay, thank you.
Tim?
My question was just that, if it went through the planning commission, I see that it did. So,
With a favorable recommendation. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
nay.
Motion carries. Okay, under number 2, upon consideration of the favorable recommendation of the Crowley Planning Commission to approve the final plat and zoning variance of Harbor Trace subdivision for backyard setback requirement in R3 from 20% of lot depth to 10 feet backyard setback as follows. Consider approval of variance request relative to rear yard building setbacks. Consider recommending the approval of the final plat, including the dedication of the public rights of way, servitudes, privately stored storage ponds, privately owned storage ponds, and common areas shown thereon to the Board of Aldermen. Consider recommending the acceptance of the improvements of the public road, drainage, and sewer to the Board of Aldermen. Consider recommending the mayor to enter into a storm water management facilities maintenance agreement to the Board of Aldermen. Mr. Mayor, would you like to comment on this?
Yes, I would. Item 2 that Lyle just read is going to work in conjunction with item 4. You have, I believe in your packets, a resolution that was prepared by the city attorney, and also an act of dedication, which is the act that takes some of the recommendations from the planning commission and makes them official. I put at your desk this size copy of the Harvest Trace final plat. It turns out that a lot of information there is kind of small and hard to read, so I have larger copies just for Lyle, Mr. Chief there. There are 2 copies there if you want to take one of those. And if you want to go look at something that's easier to read on that plat, please feel free to do that. I am assuming that you have Mr. Reagan's resolution at your hands. The resolution would be approving and accepting the final plat of Harvest Trace subdivision and an act of dedication and donation of the streets and drainage and utility servitude rights of way of Harvest Trace subdivision. I'd be happy to read that if you'd like me to. What I can tell you is that we work very closely with city attorney, with the developer and the developer's engineer to get to the point where the infrastructure there is ready to be accepted by the city. There's no reason to deny acceptance from the point of view of your attorney and engineer, and this is what needs to happen in order to make it official. Also, in that packet, you'll read the act of dedication. And it's referring to the act of dedication, donation of streets, drainage, and utility servitudes, rights of way, and acceptance of infrastructure improvements for public maintenance and maintenance bond for the warranty of the Harbor Straits subdivision. The warranty bond is a requirement of your subdivision regulations that 10% of the value of the infrastructure that you will take and own by, the city will own, 10% of that value is to be put up as a bond to the city. That bond is to be held for 12 months. So that calculation has been made. See if we fill that number in yet.
It was around 86.
The amount of the bond is 81,000. I'm looking to see if it's in the resolution. It should be. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's on the second page of the act of dedication. Right in the middle of the page, it says, dedication to the city of Crowley for public use and authorizing the approval and acceptance of the infrastructure improvements in accordance with the plan and specifications for public maintenance and the maintenance bond warranty, in the amount of $81,000.
And the 81,000.
Yes. Given the recommendation and information just provided by Mr. Mayor, I would set forth that we accept the favorable recommendation from the planning commission on the resolution and dedication of Harbor Straits subdivision.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Any
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, the 81,000 is 10% of what number?
810.
Right, but that reflects the cost of who developed that and how was that estimate, I mean, where did it come from?
The engineer for the development submitted a detailed list of all the improvements, what the contractor charged to install those improvements. We vetted that, and we agreed with it, and so the bond was set at $81,000 based on our check of the estimate provided by the developer's engineer.
So all of the improvements, the infrastructure improvements, is 810,000. That seems low, but you're the expert.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, who owns the subdivision?
Right?
It's in the act of dedication as Stillwater
Yes.
Stillwater Development LLC.
Where they located at?
Lafayette.
1611 West University Avenue, Lafayette, Parish.
81,000. This will be what it is.
Anything else?
I have a-
Yep. Mr. Untitled.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mayor, can you explain D on here, on number 2? Consider recommending the mayor to enter into a stormwater management facility maintenance agreement. What does that entail?
The facility has detention ponds, and public drains have to drain to the detention ponds, but the city doesn't want to have to own and operate and maintain detention ponds. So what we have to have is an agreement that allows the city to continue to flow into the pond, but the city doesn't have to maintain the pond. That's going to be done by the homeowners association.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that takes care of item number 4 as well. Number 3, upon consideration of the favorable recommendation of the Crowley Planning Commission to approve the request for home occupancy by Phyllis Tesno to open a home occupied business described as a billing agency
on the property located at 425 North Avenue D, said property being described as lot 11, block 60 of the city of Crowley, and I would so move.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes,
I'm not on this committee, but, my parents were in the nursing home where Miss Phyllis worked, and I can vouch for her. She's an outstanding person. I would highly recommend that the council approve.
anything else?
Yeah, just,
Yes, sir.
okay, so she gonna be having a building agency. What is that? That's like, oh, okay. Is she here? Oh, okay. Get to the mic, please. Yeah. Christian's on this. Oh, yeah.
Hello.
How you doing? See, Phyllis, I've been knowing you for the longest. And this is the first time that I never called you Tisman.
No, my name is Phyllis Mean
Right.
Lord.
Right. Okay, well, congratulations. Yeah. You need help with anything? Give us a call. Good luck.
Y'all have any questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. If no one has anything else to bring before zoning and annexation, we will recess.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Next, public safety, Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Mayor. Convene this public safety committee meeting, and Mr. President, the reports will begin with Police Chief Jim Russo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Crowley Police responded to 867 calls for service in the month of January. Included in this number were 2 attempted burglaries, 3 auto theft complaints, 11 domestic abuse battery complaints, 5 hit-and-run accidents, 82 disturbances, 43 suspicious persons, 51 suspicious circumstances, 2 open container violations, 14 simple criminal damage to property, 8 simple batteries, and 16 calls for illegal use of a weapon. I didn't forget to mention that we had 2 armed robberies, one being the crew that is working on West 9th Street for the city in doing the sidewalks, and we're still investigating that. Our narcotics division has done 2 search warrants in the month of January on known houses where illegal narcotics are being used and sold. A total of 107 citations for TED were written in January. 73 citations were written in addition to TED for the month of January. We have filled the dispatcher position and 1 patrol slot. We are still 4 down, but interviewing. 12 reserve officers have been grandfathered into the post system. From now on, any future reserve officer applicants will have to complete a post-training course before being allowed to be sworn in as reserve officers. Temporary assignments have been made to assist patrol during the shortage. Detectives have been assigned to a particular shift, while post-certified office personnel have been assigned a day of the week to assist on the road. This will hopefully alleviate some of the issues until we are able to be back at full staffing. In addition, various officers have been registered for different training and classes, many to become instructors in the various tools and workings, such as the taser. We're sending one to be range master. We have one going to be an instructor in the LiDAR, as well as other courses. The good part with this is it will save a good amount of money, as training for officers will be able to be done in-house now, rather than having to send them out. Also, which I didn't have on my report, but it reminded me when they were talking in recreation, Mr. Rich and I have spoken to about the possibility of a handicap accessible entrance on this north side of the building. So we are looking at that as well. And I'm still waiting on 1 quote for the cleaning of the building. If I don't get it within a couple of weeks, I'll just submit what I've got and move from there.
Great. Any questions, Chief Broussard?
Yes, Chief, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, Chief, the last phrase you just said, Is this cleaning inside or outside?
outside.
I thought you had a problem inside with mold at one time.
We do, we still have a problem with the mold and the asbestos,
I mean,
especially in the back cells. And if you notice downstairs, the water fountains are gone because we were having a leak which had decimated part of the walls and,
inside.
yes, sir, and in the bathroom. So we have removed the water fountains and they are replacing that wall and that area.
You know, just FYI, I mean, this is a work hazard. Chair, I'm not trying to be funny here, but I'm thinking, what about the insides? I mean, once again, I mean, you got people that's in there working daily, walking in and out, outside, wait, I'm just me, okay,
Right.
outside, wait. You have any projection on what it would cost for, get the insides done? Abate the inside?
At one point, we looked at abating the inside with asbestos. It would probably be around $300,000.
300.
And that's not including having to move all the evidence, which is in there, to another secure facility, which we don't have.
So basically what you're saying, that your officers are in and out of the area on a daily? No, $300,000. And how much the outside is, clean?
I think he's gonna join us for the outside.
Okay. Y'all do the math, $5, I'm just using $5. $5, clean outside, and $300, basically to clean the inside. I'm just telling you, okay, before, that's what I'm saying. What I meant is, we're looking at $5 compared to $300 times whatever to bring it up to 300,000. But if one person gets sick in that area, if one officer gets sick, and guess what? You're paying the $5,000 clean outside, but guess, you still got the $300,000 clean the inside, but now you got someone sick. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like dominoes, but the problem is it's in a circle. Yeah? You keep raising and you keep falling.
And Chief, there's a lot of problems in the building as well, with the blistering of walls,
Yes, sir.
with mold, with water, and I think the blistering is caused by water intrusion, but I'm no expert. And upstairs, there's a window right back here that's got a crack that appears to be caused by maybe a structural movement. There's no signs of reason why this crack, but, and one of the uprights along the floor is canted. So, it's something that needs to be looked into. Chief, do you have $305,000 in your budget to do these repairs?
If I let go 10 people and don't hire the other 5 for the next year, I would.
Since you know, right? And if you can you engage a contractor to do this, this work, assuming the funds were available, or does that require the mayor's authorization?
I don't know, I mean, the answer that would be told to me is you have it in your budget.
But as far as engaging a contractor to sign an agreement.
No, that would be the mayor.
You would have to sign
Yeah,
it.
yeah. My apologies, I misunderstood the question on that, but.
And I was gonna say, Chief, once you measure out all your mitigation attempts to whatever you need to do to get prices. Of course, I was going to sit down with you, and we can get with Mr. Reagan and making sure that we're all covered legally. And we come to terms or negotiations for any kind of contract that we'd like to do.
Still, well, this is an emergency, man. This is not nothing that we keep kicking the can down the road. Okay? All with COVID and everything else out there, and I mean, come on now, I mean, how much time does it take to get someone to come in, give a bid, because that abatement, I mean, this is gonna take time, and, yeah, every day that passes, hope grows. So what I would ask, man, if there's any way that y'all can get together on this real quick, that's just my question. think that, the officers would appreciate it. I
I
appreciate
can
it.
absolutely, work it, like I said, I've gotten one quote, but I can get a couple of other quotes as far as the abatement. Then the other problems, as I said, you will have to look at somewhere secured to be able to store all the evidence and files. It cannot be stored outside because it's not, climate controlled, and we need a climate control facility.
That's an additional cost.
Mr. Bell.
I would suggest you may check into, I think I said this last month when you brought up the issue of the enterprise building and your, issues there with your, supplies, to check with the couple of the climate control facilities here in town. I don't know if you did that or not.
No, I haven't.
But I would, and bring that with you when you and the mayor speak.
Chief, would the, option of a climate control building suffice with the secure environment that the records need to be stored in?
We will see.
Yeah,
And I apologize, Mr. Cavell, you may have made the suggestion, I missed it, my apologies on that. But yes, I will check that out with climate control.
that'd be great.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
To answer your question, I think it would suffice a lot better than what they have now in the enterprise building. And there haven't been a problem with that in the enterprise building.
Good point.
And that's not climate control.
Yeah, but you can make it climate control. For what
No,
I'm
I'm talking about
understanding,
security purposes.
yeah, but you can secure it as well,
Yeah,
if you gotta put an armed guard in front of it, you know? But I mean, the climate control is just heating and air conditioning. That's it. I'm sorry.
Mr. Untitled.
Thank you, Chair. And there's still, this is probably under public buildings, and we, Byron and I have discussed this quite a bit. But, there's still an issue of the payment. It comes out of your budget, which I disagree with, that it should 100% come out of your budget. But that's another discussion, I guess. Because this building isn't only housed by police, right? So that's another, you could break it down percentage-wise, so that it wouldn't all have to come out of your budget, in my opinion. But possibly when you get together with contractors, with Mr. Rich, if you do that with the ramp, for example, in front, maybe they could look at the other issues with the building, at that time.
Yeah. I think I heard something wrong here.
Mr. Warren.
Kim, you want to clear that up? Did you just say that if it's 300,000, it'd be taken out of his budget? We have a public buildings. Okay? The city owns this, the police department owns this building, the city of Crowley owns the building.
I think that's.
I went out there to, Department of Motor Vehicles, they had a problem.
To be honest, I think that's why we have been stalled in getting things done, is because of the payment, where the payment would come from.
But that don't make any sense. I mean, you got, what he just said, to pay for that, you would have to I don't want to get your words confused, but it was to something of, you would have to lay off 10 and whatever the other. I mean, we have public buildings. The city owns that building, the city of Crowley owns that building. Not the police department, not the courts, not even us, we use it right now. Why would, you don't have a line item in your budget for abatement, do you?
No, sir, I don't. I have maintenance and repairs on the building.
Yeah, but maintenance is keeping the floors clean, and when something breaks, you do it. But I mean, this is something right here, this is a major issue. And what it does, if somebody gets sick, they're not gonna sue the police department, they're not gonna sue the courts, they're gonna sue the city of Crowley. Okay? So I mean, I'm not trying to be out of play here, but I thought I heard what you said, Kim, but I want to clarify it. So Mayor, and I'm gonna just ask you this question, if I may. Why would it come out of his budget? Or and another question, it's a two-part question. And as a legislative body, and I know the answer before I even ask the question, can we as a legislative body amend his budget to add that $300? And whether we line item as building maintenance or whatever, Because this would be a major building, not, just repair and maintenance. I don't know if you would label it the same, but I mean, think about it here. Do this body as, and, I mean, we the one makes the budget, pays the bills. We put the money on the table. Since it's coming out of his budget, and you don't have a line item for building a basement, is there a way that this council can approve whatever the cost is, whether $300,000 or $250, whatever it may be, to be added to his, as a line item to his budget? And then it falls back. Jeff, I'm glad you got your hand on it, because that'll be the next question too. And does it go to public buildings? Which one does it go to? If I may, Mayor, I'm asking you first. Yeah, I'm trying to see.
Okay,
How it comes out.
so first of all, a comment to your comment about the budget. The city of Crowley owns all of the buildings that is
Right.
correct. That is why everybody has their own budget, just like Chief Buddha has a budget of his building, just like, he's already gone, I'm sorry, Recreation Department, Mr. Peter has a budget for his building, just like we have for G&A, just like Tim Prater does for wastewater. They all have a budget that they have to follow, and that's their budget for their building. Now, the other answer to your question is that, can you as a legislative body amend the budget? Absolutely, absolutely. But first of all, he has to go through mitigation measures of getting estimates, yes, he has a ton of estimates. We gotta make sure that all these people are, I guess, certified.
But I did say total bill. So in other words, whatever
But-
that bottom line is, that's what I'm
but-
looking at.
But he needs to get all of those estimates, I'm just gonna use them as estimates, you can call them bids, quotes, estimates, whatever you like. He needs to get all that first, before you can even determine of what you're going to amend.
But Mayor, does it go, why would it go to the police department?
Because it
And-
has to be tracked to a certain.
Well, wait, but we have public buildings. why
Public
can't-
buildings, what do you mean? That's a committee.
That's a committee,
That's
correct?
all it is a committee. We're talking about a budget. A budget means what, do you know the name of the building he's referring to?
What, I mean,
Criminal Justice Building.
It's the criminal justice building. The criminal justice building falls under the police department. G&A falls under us. Recreation, the Rights Festival building falls under the recreation department. Wastewater, his building falls under his. They all have maintenance and repairs to their budget.
but he has a multiple tenant, this building has
That's
multiple
an
tenants.
important, and that is really complicated, and I'm not gonna get into that. right now.
I understand, I'm
Okay,
just trying to get
So
some
that's the
more.
answer to your question, and that's where it has to go under his budget. And then, if we need more money, yes, you as a legislative body can amend that budget, that budget.
I still don't understand.
So, just to clarify, the maintenance and repair funds that are in, the police department's budget are for routine items, things that normally wear and tear throughout the year. However, if the roof leaks on this building and you have a $200,000 repair or the air conditioning system goes out, that's not anticipated in the budget of the year. So that we would have to appropriate funds from the general
Right.
fund, like the mayor said, to amend the budget. But I think before we get there, we need to get the estimates.
I understand that, but why would, I'm still trying to see if this building is maintained, and Jeff, I know you got your hand, just one more. So if it's under the police department, I'm sorry, if it's under the police department, and let's say the courts, Judge Traha have a problem. She said, well, in my side of the building is leaking and whatever. She has to go to the chief of police to say, Chief, can you fix this for me?
Yes.
That don't, I mean, I understand it is like it is, but anything that's as we call that's unfallible can be changed. In my opinion, it should be, and I use it like it is, if it's what's the name, the justice building, well, put a line item for the justice building. That's it. Thank you.
It's simply an accounting issue.
Mhm.
You can put everything for the whole city into one account,
Right.
but in order to hold accountable each department, you break it up in a budgetary manner. And as Ms. Core said, they are, when we pass the budget, we foresee X amount of dollars for routine maintenance.
Okay.
When things exceed that, which has had done in the past, just like the fire station and the like, we've, yes, like you said, we've amended or appropriated the funds necessary to cover that. Hopefully the year we will amend it this time, but it can be done. In the private sector, you can also look at it as, if you have different departments, they're gonna have rent as opposed to on a budget, they're gonna rent from you. Although it's one company, that's how you allocate the cost to that department. It's the same way, it's just a tracking of what department is costing what to the city.
But I have a problem with the police department is in charge of the building. They have enough on their plate already, that's just me. Thank you.
Except I tend to agree, I think the, police department chief should be the police department running, and fire department same, and they should have a building maintenance. But, city, but, again, so, Mr. Craven.
And I know it's in the infancy, but I'll just throw out the ARPA thing again, that, you know, there may be something, we have $2 million that's not it hasn't been dedicated, just a line item that's sitting in the budget right now that we may be able to use for something like that, but that's just, maybe, I don't know, but that's just a thought.
No, that's a great idea, we certainly need to look into that, for these minor improvements. These buildings are getting some age, as we all know.
Mr. Corp, I think comment, sir. In organizations that I've been involved in the
Please,
past,
state your name.
Richard Hughes.
Thank you.
In organizations that I've been involved in the past, including homeowners associations with common properties and, you know, accessibility, you know, the thing is that they normally have in their budget reserves, and the reserves are, as a contractor, my job was to go out and tell them how much money it was gonna cost to replace their roof, how much more time they had on the roof, and they budgeted accordingly. And I think it'd be much more responsible for the city to run it the same way, where you don't get hit with this thing last second and hopefully, oh, okay, we have grant money coming in, let's use some of that. You already have the reserve set aside, and for unforeseen, they also have a line in their budgets for unforeseen repairs. So instead of the regular repair stuff that you can count on, like bulbs, you know, faucet or whatever, you know, they would look at it like, well, what repairs have we had to do over the past 10 years that weren't budgeted for, or that we came across that wouldn't be on a line item, and everything is held responsible. It just works out better for everyone. There's no surprises.
Yes. Mr. Bear.
I'm in total agreement with Hughes, but yet you gotta understand, it still took 3 years for this council to agree to build the reserves up for a sewer user, for a wastewater facility.
Right.
Okay? So what you're talking about in order to build reserves is actually increasing fees somewhere, because when we pass the budget, it's a balanced budget. So expenditures, revenues, where we can put money aside, we do. I'm just letting you know.
Right, I understand, but you pay now, you pay
I
later.
totally agree with what you're saying, because that fund was depleted. And the only way we were gonna able to bring it back up is to do something that took 3 years to improve.
Or reduce expenses.
Yes,
Mayor.
absolutely.
Trying to get out these days, you know that.
Reduce it.
First of all, Mr. Krieger keeps using the word ARPA. I want y'all to understand that we just can't use it on anything that we want to use it on. There are some technical, let me just tell you that we just can't use it on anything we want to use it on. And that's why I'm trying to get all the information that I can. And I'm gonna tell you something that would be greatly needed, and if we can use it on, is fire trucks. We're in desperate need, we have old fire trucks, and they're very old. And those are big ticket items, just like at our wastewater plant, $1.2 million. You'll get 2 fire trucks, you're looking at $1.3 million. That's a big ticket item. And that would save the city a tremendous amount of money for the future in purchasing 2 new fire trucks. if we can, but that's what we're trying to make sure that we can.
Now, have you determined what we can, and you know what we can use on, I mean, I know we can use on the sewer, but
That-
what else have you
That was
investigated?
that was designated as some of the first 5 topics and items that you could, was broadband, wastewater, and we even thought the way that it was interpreted as far as drainage. Now I'm understanding that we're able to use it again on wastewater, and now we can extend it to drainage possibly. And I'm confirming all that, because just because somebody might say that, I want to make sure with our auditors that we can in fact use it for those funds for that. That way we don't have to pay for it. Because if you're using something that you're not supposed to be using it for, you will have to pay it back.
So the seminar that y'all attended, that was put on by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor, you're saying that there was conflict between information that they presented versus our city auditor?
No, sir. No, sir. Just the class that we attended was very, very minimal and broad. Meaning, they might have given you the same topic that we had before, but they did enlighten us on that. There was a final decision that they made that you could use it on other things. But I don't know all of those fine point details of those things. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Right, can we get someone from whatever
Yes,
agency?
that's what I'm trying to do.
Give us a workshop?
Yes.
I think that would be very beneficial.
Yes,
so
and
we're
I
all on the same
plan to
page.
do that once the auditor gets all of that information. Mr. Mater and Mater Engineering, they have a lot of information as well. And so I'm trying to combine all of this together as a whole and making sure that we've got in detail of what we can and what we cannot use that money for. And that way, when we do spend it, that we are in fact tracking it, reporting it, and not having to pay it back.
Sure. We just want to make sure we have the right source.
Okay.
Mr. Craig.
And probably the biggest thing that came out of that thing, in my mind, was that there's no real rush to decide right now
That's
what you
correct.
have to do with it. You have until 2024 to come up with the project, and 2026 to spend the money. So,
That's right.
so I agree, we need to sit back but it is there, and it may be available. And let's not rush to spend all this money, like my dad said, that nickel's burning a hole in your pocket, where you gotta spend it on that candy. Let's spend it wisely, because this is a one-time thing. We're not gonna see this again, probably, so, I would say that we kind of figure it out, and y'all can, if you go to the midwinter conference, you'll see, there's a lot of information that will come out, but that code of federal regulations, if you've ever looked at them, I know in the all field we have to, it's very, very complicated, and I agree with the mayor that we need somebody, an expert to come in and tell us. You can't figure it out in just an hour, and they went through it so fast, but there's some good information out there.
You got a solution greater than Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry.
I'll just, and I'll gonna go home, I just have to say this. Okay, now this, what's the name of this building?
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice. Okay, Buddha. You tired of being away yet? All right. All right, no, what I'm saying is there any way we can bring in, I think Scott just done it, that's where I got it from. Can we bring in the fire department and the police department and the courts all under one building, under one roof?
No, sir.
You wanna build, if you wanna buy a new building?
No, I mean the administrative side, not everybody, no.
And we did on the track.
Cause that way, I mean, if you're gonna do a budget, and that way all of them can take part in, I'm just trying to figure it out, because you just brought up a fire truck, we trying to save somebody's life. Not that the fire truck wouldn't, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, we got people in and out of there, that's all I'm saying, before we get, with another bunch of papers that we got, that's fine.
Okay, Steph, thank you very much. Fire Chief Louis Romero, please. Finish your report.
Good afternoon. I gave everybody a copy of my report for January 2022. The Crowley Fire Department responded to a total of 36 calls. We had a busy month this month. We had 6 structure fires. We had 3 structure fires in one day. We responded to 8 fire alarms, 6 EMS, 1 hazmat call, 1 vehicle accident, 6 public assist, 5 trash fires, 3 vehicle fires. And our average monthly response time for this last month was 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Any questions? Talking about fire trucks.
Yes.
One of the fire trucks, we had an estimate for $6,200. And when they got into engine 7, it was worse off. The bill went from 6,500 to over 11,000. So, when the mayor says we need fire trucks, my budget's almost all gone now.
And that would be on your repair, side.
Repairs,
And we
fire truck and equipment repair. So, in the next month or two, I'm gonna have to come and ask for more money. You know, I'm warning y'all.
No, we need to know.
The trucks are old. Our newest trucks is engine 20 and service engine 21, and they 15, 16 years old. That's our newest trucks. So,
Do you know the wait time on getting new trucks in this environment that we were in?
last Tuesday, we had a fire chief meeting, and one of the reps was there. He said, if you put an order in today, you're looking at 14 to 15 months.
So we another year of service on our existing fleet. And prices, I'm sure that fluctuates weekly. I'm trying to get a.
He said they had a 7% increase January 1. So,
Credit?
Yes, Ms. Booth, when we met, it's probably, 2 years ago, I guess, when you had it all worked out, you had somebody that's gonna do the financing and remember that?
I think that was, Chief Terry Miller at the time, and, Captain Chad and myself was in some of those meetings, just,
You still have all of that information, because it seemed like a pretty good deal back in the day, it wasn't us outright
it
spending
was
$3 or $4 million.
it was a lease, we leased them.
Right.
For 5 to 7 years, and we paid so much money, and that was up to, I wanna say 12,000 miles. But if we leased it for 5 years, as long as we was under that lease, other than the belts and the tires, you know, regular maintenance, some broke. That was their big,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it sounded, it was a good deal back then, and I don't know if that's still available or not, but you may revisit that, because, that would be very, very attractive, I think, now.
Just as a moment.
And while you're looking into that, I'm sure the fire truck manufacturers know about these ARPA funds availability, if that can be used for, purchase or lease purchase. Mayor?
But also consider again, and I'm gonna say the word ARPA again, if we're allowed to use those fire trucks. You're spending $1.3 million now, and you won't have to spend anything else unless you come up with a little bit of maintenance on those vehicles, or upkeep, or repairs, if there is any, for the next 10 or 15 years, just like we got now. And you could utilize the money that you're saving on those leases to something else.
Sure, we just want to look at all options and see what's available.
Absolutely.
Ms. Stringfellow?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Romero, do you house any other departments in your building? Other than the fire department? Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Chief?
Thank you.
Next we move to the City Inspector, Tony Duhon. Oh, he was out in the call. What I do have is, email report, dated February the 2nd, 2022 at 1:34 p.m. Good afternoon, January 2022 report. Permits, quantity 3, new construction commercial permits, and 3 new construction residential permits, 14 electrical permits, 5 gas permits, and 2 demo permits for the addresses of 229 West 14th Street and 1837 Canal Street. Code enforcement, quantity 3 uninhabitable structures, 4 trash rubbish, and 8 tall grass. Animal control wants to do 3 calls for dead animals, 10 for cats, 28 for dogs, number of take-ins, 9 cats and 13 dogs. Planning and zoning, quantity, 1 home occupancy, and 1 re-subdivide. Contact us if any further information is needed. Respectfully, Tony. Completes his report. Next, we move to beer and liquor licenses. So we have 5 requests for permits. And as I sit here today, I'm just looking at the applications for the first time. What our normal routine has been since the fall of last year, the permits is to also include police reports from the police department. I don't see that attached to these particular locations. As much as I want to move forward with these, I would like to review the information and have the police department's report, since we had for the other applicants that applied earlier, in December. Is there any?
Mr. Chairman, if I may make an observation, you do have an application for Fat Boys again, but I would call the committee's attention to page 3 of that application, which is a letter from the daughter of Mr. Abdullah, Ms. Monique Maynard.
Chief, could you read that?
Oh, she's here, great.
Oh, I'm sorry. Great. Would you like to come?
I'm gonna give that to Mother.
Good evening. I've been out the area for quite some time. I came back after I heard what was going on at my father's location. I would like to apologize for the chaos. That is not the way business is supposed to be ran. The person that it was under management is out of the country. He's no longer here. I stepped in to save the business because I do have a background. I've been doing this for 10+ years. And I'm successful at any location I've ever been in without this chaos. You are more than welcome to pop in at any time. I am cleaning up on the inside. I'm there 12+ hours a day, 7 days a week.
Can you kind of give us a little update on what changes you've made since then?
Since January 1st, when I walked in, all employees were fired. No excuse. So it's just me and Mr. Hussein in the location right now. There is no more hanging out. They knew that. I mean, it took me, about a week or 2 to get reacquainted with everybody, but they knew as soon as I was in town, it was back to business. Before I left town, I had K&L. I was the manager at K&L on Hutchinson. I never had no problems back there. There was never no excessive hanging out, like what I was seeing going on since Mr. Wynn took over. If you pass right now, it's dead. Now, since I came back to town, I realized there's a hair salon, because that's actually a plaza, a 2-suite plaza with 3 doors. The suite at the end is occupied. It's a hair salon. I haven't checked to see if there's any occupational license or anything for that establishment. But the parked cars, I did tell them it was an issue. It's in and out. No one can go visit while you're getting a hairstyle because the parking space is very limited anyway. The parking lot needs to be repaved. There's just a lot of things I need to do. I've been gone since 2014, 15-ish. Now that I'm back, I'm gonna be here hands-on. No problems will arise, I can promise you that. I do not play, they know. I'll just tell 1, 2, 3, 4. And they know what I'm talking about, they'll just walk. They move around fast now. They're not allowed to do that.
And I appreciate the conversation we've had over the phone about the improvements you're doing to the business operation, especially with the lottery. And
Yes.
I have observed your establishment as well as others, and I've seen the improvement as well due to your input. And
Thank you.
We really appreciate that.
eventually, I'm gonna stay long enough for y'all to see, one of my many talents. Homa is very familiar with what I do. I do draw, I'm a community person. I'm gonna be trying to do community events for low-income kids, you know, if it's allowed. I'm gonna get familiar with the area, see what the do's and don'ts are. But, in home I did Easter egg hunts for the community. I would feed, you know, every once in a while I'll have a customer appreciation day, but then it was always peaceful. We get together, you know, I may cook, give out free food, thank you for supporting my business. But there's the loitering and the hanging out, no. It's a convenience store, it's not a restaurant, it's not a bar. There's a difference, a big difference.
Bob, did you have a question?
I'm good, thank you.
Anyone else?
What's going on at the business now? Is it open?
Yes,
Yes, they don't have a liquor permit.
just no liquor.
Since January 1. We didn't approve.
Yeah, I know.
Do the prior police reports and so forth at the location. And now she's coming up for applying for a liquor permit for this year.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you.
much. So with that said, we have, these liquor licenses, applications, again, just looked at the applications for the first time, and we do have a new, on item A, with the Standard Dollar of Louisiana LLC. Again, Chief Duke, so you signed off on them, did you do any police reports for the locations like we've done in the other applicants? I wanna make sure we're consistent in what we're doing here versus what we did the last time.
I mean, what I basically do when I sign off is that they have no criminal record.
For the applicant.
Right, for the
We were
applicant.
talking about earlier about, you know, how many calls to service.
Right, and
how
I
many
mean,
calls to-
if the council wants, or the community wants to approve it contingent upon those, I can have those for you by the council night.
Okay, that's certainly a good option.
I'll second,
Committee members, y'all,
I'll second that if we do that. Are we gonna take it individually?
yeah, we'll take
Who
that.
made the motion? Who made the motion?
Yes, just about to make a motion for, item A, new Family Dollar of Louisiana LLC, 826 North Parkinson Avenue, 2022 Class B package beer permit. I'd like to move on that with full council, contingent upon the police report that, is forthcoming from Chief Police Officer.
Second.
Second, discussion?
So, Chair, this is a new license. Does that mean that this is a new store?
New ownership is what I'm understanding.
So each time they have a new owner, they have to renew?
Yes, ma'am, because the license is only
Under
that-
that other's
right,
name?
that particular owner.
Okay.
No discussion? All in favor? Mr. Martin?
And just going back on it, did we ever come to a consensus on, that one word, renewal or whatever? Look, that's still, I mean, that needs to be handled like that.
No, that's, Mr.
Okay.
Reagan brought that up, and I wanna make sure we comply as well, but I'm gonna take it for what it appears as, an applicant that had a license last year, and they are asking for another license this year.
Yep.
If that clears there with renewal fees in our city.
Interpretation.
Yes, that's the way I, see it. All in favor?
All right,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Under item B, renewals. Number one, Big Daddy 2020 Incorporated DBA KG Mark, 109 Eastern Avenue, I think that should be Southeastern Avenue, for a 2022 Class B package beer permit, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Alderman Stringfellow. Discussion? Mr. Bell?
Chief, are you aware of these licenses that have expired and just now renewing? And if so, are you going to these places to cite them if they are accepted?
I have not, I will be honest, I will admit that I have not gone to businesses to cite them. And then, according to our ordinances, I mean, there is a fee for late fees.
Yes, it's a nominal 5% that
Right.
I think we can charge, but again, nominal, what's gonna hit them in the pocketbook is the inability to actually sell alcohol, and along with a fine. So I think we need to somehow work out something. I'll get into something later down the line, to where maybe a listing can be submitted, and after November 1, you can approach these businesses and say, hey, you have not applied.
And
As of December 31, you will be therefore expired.
more than happy to.
Thank you.
I will say I'm more than happy to do that. I mean, it's always just a.
I mean, it's not fair for
Yeah.
people that are compliant.
Correct, you are
Now
correct,
going
sir.
into the second month of doing.
You are
something.
correct, I agree.
Yes, and we do have in the ordinance when the deadline is for
Correct.
renewals, and I think it would be a courtesy to all these business owners to put them on notice. And again, we need to amend the motion slightly to be the same as, number one, contingent upon, the police report from Chief Broussard. And I'd also like to, confirm that no alcohol beverages have been sold since January 1. That's part of your police report.
Okay,
And maybe something you want to do more.
Yes.
in fact, I'm sending the email as we speak, so.
Mayor?
I was just gonna add in the future, chief, if you would like, this administration could also assist you with the dates and stuff on those particular licenses.
That would be, and,
Good idea.
yeah, I mean, that would be great, because I'm not sure when
Yes,
they receive them as well.
that's what I'm saying, of the
Yeah.
items or the businesses that you're naming, we
Correct.
can pull the dates up for you.
Okay, great.
That'd be very helpful, Mayor. In fact, I encouraged that happened last year when it expired.
Yes.
Thank you. So we have a motion, and second, Alderman Stringfellow. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, Big Daddy 2020 Corporate DBA Winter Circle Deli, 815 Hartford Street, 2022 Class A Retail Beer Permit. This is adjacent to item number 1.
It's the same
building?
Same building.
Right.
And,
It's just a separate section.
Yes.
Yes, and I would like to move for approval contingent upon the same items, police report, and to confirm that no alcoholic beverages have been sold since January 1. Second, Alderman Stringfellow, discussion,
I just want to-
Ms. Stringfellow?
Chief,
Ma'am,
do you get a copy of the, permits, the applications, do you keep a copy of those, or are those strictly, at City Hall?
no, ma'am, they're strictly at City Hall.
Okay,
Normally it's sent to me, and if it's,
and you sign off on it?
well, if it's new out, yes, ma'am, or a new owner, we'll always run the criminal history through NCIC, make sure everything is clear there. And then I'll usually sign off to say they have no criminal record.
And the renewals as well, he gets those copies to sign.
Sorry, but you don't keep those copies in
No.
your possession?
All in favor?
Um,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, Fat Boys, 324 West Second Street, for a 2022 Class B package beer permit and a 2022 Class B package liquor permit. And I so move contingent upon the primary requirements with the police report.
Question, Mr. Chairman, on that.
Yes.
Since you denied it the first time because of reports, you still wanting the same reports, or would you like from January?
From January, yes.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
yes. Since the time that the license was
Okay.
terminated.
All right.
And just.
Yeah, related to alcohol-related
Okay.
complaints. Certainly, I don't want to burden the police department with the traffic accident that occurred in front, had nothing to do with.
Right.
I second that.
So it was, motion was made, seconded by Mr. Gilbert? Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, R.J. Chavez Incorporated DBA La Rumba, 165 Oddfellows Road, for a 2022 Class A retail beer permit and a 2022 Class A retail liquor permit. And I so move based on the contingency stated on the police report and any alcoholic beverages being served since the license expired. Second by Alderman Stringfellow. Discussion? All in favor? Sorry, we did. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The action items, we have none. Discussion items, closure of West Elm Street intersection at South Avenue C to prohibit commercial vehicles of more than 4 axles upon South Avenue C and Oscar Johnson Drive to enhance public safety proximate to Miller Stadium. I just want to share with the committee that I met with the representative of Falcon Ricefield to discuss the plans for their expansion. And it appears that a possible increase in commercial truck activity will occur both on Elm Street and Avenue C in the future after their project is underway. And I'm just looking in a forward manner for discussion purposes only to possibly have maybe the chief of police and the city engineer maybe meet with them regarding their plans, maybe look at that intersection and see if closure of Elm Street at Avenue C would be advantageous to keep large 18 wheels from turning, for instance, north on Avenue C when we have all the tournaments and all of the visitors and all of the parking along the stadium, and also maybe to prohibit truck traffic further south and then on to Oscar Johnson Drive due to weight limits. Again, that's a safety concern I have, and I certainly want to work with the mill and their expansion efforts to make sure we don't conflict with their plans. But, I mean, on public safety, this may be something that would be beneficial to the ballpark when we have a large influx of visitors coming in, the passenger fee. Is that something maybe you can maybe look into? Sure. Great. That's all.
I'll be glad to work with Ms. Mayor on that.
Yes, and certainly, that's just a thought, it's no action required. Next, I'm sorry, Mr. Dwayne Fulton.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Yes, as you said, we did meet the other day, and what we are looking at is actually getting that traffic from going from West Elm to C. That's one of our big things, is to get that to not happen anymore. So if we can shut that street off where we're looking at doing, we've already gotten with the engineer and the city attorney about rerouting the 30-inch drain onto the north side of Elm so that we can do our expansion. That would help us to shut that street down as well. What we want to do is build our building on the old gravel parking lot that we had across from North Stadium, basically to the middle of the street. So we have to move that 30-inch drain. So we are going to shut the street off, which is going to alleviate the trucks going from our loading dock, which to me, we've tried to act in good faith in the forefront by moving our loading dock from the west side of our building to the south side in order to get the majority of that 18-wheel traffic away from the ball field lot. So in continuing with that, what we would like to do is shut that off to keep exactly what you're saying, the extra 18-wheel traffic from going to C and have it go back to B.
And the mill owns property on both the north and south side.
That's
It's
correct.
down all the way from Avenue C to Avenue D. So that's pretty much all within your confined area.
Yes, sir.
of operations. Okay, great. That's what we proactive and look forward to not do something that, that interferes with either city's operations or
Right.
your plan. So that's great. Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real quick, your typical hours of operation? Well, we, as far as 18-wheeler traffic, we load trucks, we start at 7 in the morning and we typically go till about 5.
Not that we don't have trucks that say they're gonna be here 5 and don't show up
Not
until
in the
6.
argument, I mean, Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday, like.
Monday through Friday,
Okay,
but we do often have trucks that come in on the weekends.
okay. Thank
But
you.
it's normally no more than 3 on the
Right.
weekends,
Okay.
on a heavy load.
And I hope the business is enhanced where you have much more.
Ditto, thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay, anyone from the public wish to speak, the Public Safety Committee? And keep in mind, we do have a 3 to 5 minute time frame.
Richard Hughes again. I had requested to be on the agenda, and it was suggested, or I was removed from it. And it was suggested that I go straight to code enforcement and talk about problems or concerns that I have, not only myself, but other people, with the warehouse on the 500 block of South Ferguson. Excuse me. I have a problem with both, 2 problems with that suggestion. Firstly, for me to go to code enforcement, I wouldn't be met with open arms. I mean, to the extent that when it comes to this particular property, there was an email sent from code enforcement to the owner of the property stating that I was trespassing on the property while I was co-chairman of CAF back in July or something. So that would be one problem I would have with it. The main problem I would have with that was that transparency. I'm not just doing this for myself. I've had phone calls all the time about that property because people knew I was actively involved in it. Although I'm not on the steering committee for CAB anymore. I mean, I go to the Rotary, I go to Eve of the Eve, I walk the street, you know, when I'm talking with my dog or whatever, and I'm always asked questions about that property. And everyone needs to know. And I don't know if you've all taken a look at it recently, but I would say 2/3 of it, at least half of it's completely gone. And right now, it's sitting there as a metal sail waiting for a storm to come in. So, I had questions that I wanted to ask. Mr. Core, if you would, I can bring them over to you. And I have copies for the people on here, please, too.
One more. We'll get another one. That's all this is.
No, I certainly don't expect to have these questions answered tonight. 1 or 2 of them possibly, but I doubt it. I'd like to have an answer back on them within a week in writing if I could, so I can tell people what's going on and we can report it to the public. Just the public needs to know. The first question I have is, have any plans been submitted for the $60,000 repair permit issued in May of 2021? And if so, were they approved by a Louisiana ICC certified inspector? Never got
As
an
far as
answer.
I'm concerned, I have no knowledge
Right.
of this. This would be something that would be through the mayor's office or Mr. Dumont. He was here, but he left.
Right. Okay, the second question is, considering that the property is more than 50% destroyed and that is completely exposed on both the south and the east sides, why would a $60,000 permit still be valid?
Can't answer that question.
I didn't think I should be able to get the answers tonight, but the questions need to be out there, they need to be answered, that's the point. And the third, and probably one that's really gonna turn some heads, is considering a permit is valid for 180 days, and in this case expired in the beginning of November, but continues to be valid because some work, not all, and even, or not even the majority, has been completed, are we to accept the fact that this building will remain in a state of disrepair and a danger to the community, provided the owner does minimal work every 180 days prolonging the permit's validity? When does the time expire for a permit of a blighted property?
And again, this would be something that, Mr. Jim can answer. I don't know the answers to these. Ms. Stringfellow?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Hughes, you got, that 180 days, did you get that out of our ordinance?
No, it's on the bottom of the permit.
Okay, so
It
it's,
specifically states in the bottom of the permit that the permit's good for 180 days. But I forget the wording of it, but it actually becomes to the point that if you lift one piece of wood on that piece of property and put a nail in there, after 180 days are up, it continues.
right, they give me.
It's a loophole in our ordinances that needs to be changed.
Right, that's why I was wondering if you got it out of our ordinances, if we could adjust that, okay. That, we'll look into, yeah.
Any other questions?
Time's up, Mr. Core. 5 minutes is up.
Mr. Martin, you wanted to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, the mayor just said the time was up.
Time is up, Mr.
It's,
Core.
Okay.
His
If
meeting,
all of us,
Well, has it-
Martin wants to ask a question, I'm gonna allow it.
Mr. Core, time is up.
it's not your
5 minutes.
meeting. This is
Wait,
not
wait,
your
wait.
meeting.
Point of order. 5 minutes is up.
Yeah,
Mayor, you can,
wait, wait.
the movement you made, but I'm not gonna let.
No, sir. The time is up, and it's gonna be fair to everyone. 5
Wait.
minutes.
It's his meeting.
so you're saying I
You're
can't
out.
say anything?
No,
You're out of
ma'am,
order.
Ms. Stringfellow, you are out of
No,
order.
you're out of order. This is his meeting.
You are out of order, Ms.
He can call me
Stringfellow.
out
I
of
will
order if he
ask
wants
you to
to.
leave if you
No.
don't.
You want
It's not your
No, ma'am. You don't want anybody.
Mr. Hughes, just say that. Mayor,
Mr. Core.
Mayor.
Alderman Gordon asked the question, he's on this committee, and I don't have a problem with asking a question that's pertinent. to
Mr.
you.
Core, I'm gonna ask you to respect the rules that are here.
Listen, I can answer the question real quick. I can go sit down. I already asked my questions.
That's fine.
Let council talk.
I'm gonna give this to the mayor because it is questions that relate to
Thank you.
code enforcement.
Okay.
And he can give the written, responses.
Thank you.
But you can't.
Time is up.
I have to ask the question here, why was I denied?
Yeah.
You have a speaker, your speaker is given a 5-minute, this council will speak until tomorrow, if that's what it takes.
Ask the question, Mr. Martin.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to figure out why did you intervene into the
Because
chair?
I said time was up, that's all I said.
It's not
But
you,
it's his
it's
call.
show the time.
Yes, ma'am, it is
No,
mine.
it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
mine.
not. You have to be
Mayor,
I think y'all need order, please. I think you need to follow the Larson Act, and the Larson Act will tell you, and it will, if you would read it very clearly.
I have it.
And good, read it, and I would encourage you to read it again, that the Larson Act does say that the mayor is the presiding.
Not during the meeting.
Yes, yes, every meeting, every meeting. So you better look up again, order, please.
Where's our caller attorney?
Chief.
What?
He won't do it.
I'm done.
I'm afraid if you do that.
okay, I'm still here, I mean, I'm not invisible, I have to say something. But I just wanna make it clear. Okay, under the Larson Act, anytime someone presents themselves to the podium, it's under the discretion of rules in place. Very simple, rules in place. Okay. This council has the power to extend anybody's time by
No,
simply.
you don't, you're incorrect,
Mayor,
Mr. Martin, you are
Mayor, can I finish,
incorrect.
please?
Out of order.
Mayor, can I finish?
Out of order.
You are
By
incorrect.
simply,
You're not gonna be giving an incorrect information
no,
to
Mayor,
create new
no,
perception.
if you allow me to finish, by simply, if you want a rule in place, 5 minutes.
Mayor, could you?
If I want to yield 4.5 minutes to someone, I can do that. That's what I was about to say. I didn't, look, I'm not trying to.
First of all, Mr. Core was out of order whenever he asked somebody from the audience.
This
The
is-
person was not on the agenda. It should have been amended. It should have been amended. You wanna ask for rules, it should have been amended.
Mayor, I disagree.
Okay.
I will not deny the right of anyone to speak in an open public meeting. If you wish to take control of that, that's your prerogative. I will not
This is a
deny,
committee meeting.
this is an open public meeting, where the public is welcome, always, in my opinion, until I.
They're always welcome in my
Well, the rule of the United States Constitution trumps whatever rule you're talking about, and I wish you could.
Well, and I wish I was the city attorney to get you corrected.
Well, you should, well, can you
I would love
contact
to
him?
welcome him here, but he just can't make it, he is at risk. So,
Well, is he
continue,
on, is he on video?
continue, Mr.
Is he on video? Could he be contacted? Because I want to comply too, Mayor. I want to make sure we're in line, but we have opposing opinions. Ms. Emily Stone.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. I would like to address the Public Safety Committee.
It starts 5 minutes, right?
Please.
Thank you for allowing me to address the council, the audience, and the citizens through the live feed. First of all, I'm trying to get verification of what the new procedures are for where I'm to present CAB's monthly updates. Last council meeting in January, I was removed from the agenda by the mayor with no indication as to why. I filled out a speaker card and I was ignored. No response to the card whatsoever as why I could speak or not speak. Council voted to amend the agenda to allow me to update as I have for the last 8 to 9 months as the chairman of CAB, but Councilman Cavell voted against my update to the citizens and to the council in favor of silencing CAB. I don't understand why anyone would not be interested in the accomplishments of volunteers donating hundreds of hours to fight a huge problem in the city and saving the city money, especially if you're the chair of finance. Today I asked to be on your agenda, Councilman Core, and the mayor removed me from your agenda again today, which I clearly heard in the past meetings. He does not have the authority to do so without your concurrence that this is your meeting. So I'm confused. I had prior correspondence from City Hall saying that CAB would hold a standing position on council's agenda throughout our drive to remove blight. As far as I'm aware, by signing the speaker card in the proper time period or asking to be acknowledged or added to a committee at a public meeting, I should be allowed to talk, to reach out to the city of Crowley with updates or any new information in the case regarding CAB. I don't know what has changed, except in the case of CAB, that more houses have been demoed and our program has been enhanced. And city management is not cooperating with us, as agreed in the original agreement, or by the ordinances or other avenues agreed to fight blight in our city. I cannot imagine why our city government is not working with an effective volunteer group that is saving the city. I don't even know how much money. We're thankful for the support of the newspaper, and we will continue to publicly speak to organizations such as the Rotary, the Lions Club, the Kiwanis. We have invitations to 3 more organizations, and we'll continue to promote through social media. But it is our right to speak to the council and to keep them informed of our program so that they can also share the information with their constituents, those that do have an interest in blight. I would appreciate direction as to who to report to, and if I'm not answered, then I'll just continue to come to both committees. I'll come to this one, and I'll come again to council. Because the citizens are asking me, and they want to know what CAB is doing. So, with that being said, we're not going to walk away, and we're not going to quit. Handicap is now a 501c3 nonprofit. We're now offering financial assistance by application to those in need for assistance in paying for containers for condemnation. We want anyone with a desire to remove their blight that is financially unable to do so to reach out to us. With a volunteer who has also donated his time to demo for free, we're now adding financial aid through CAB for container fees. We want to get anybody blight removed that is in need of financial assistance. We're in the process of reaching out for additional monetary donations to help with the container fees as well. So if anyone would like to help rid the city of blight by giving a donation, we would appreciate the help as well. We're also seeking other avenues of financial support. Again, we are here to help remove blight in our city. To date, CAB has turned 91 red properties to green. This has occurred over about a 10-month period. Besides the silencing of CAB from informing the citizens of updates and progress, I would also like to know if and when code enforcement will be ready to participate again with CAB from the city and have not submitted. We have not submitted any.
Yes, I just want to let you know the 5-minute period is reached.
Does anyone have any questions? Is that allowed or no?
As far as the council, if someone has a question, Ms. Stringfellow?
Thank you. How many homes have y'all demolished?
91.
91.
91
are no longer red. They're green, so they've either been demoed or they've been purchased and brought up to code. So 91 are not blighted anymore. But we also do not have a relationship with code enforcement yet. It's 5 months since they were accepting our properties.
y'all were giving them 2 or 3?
We were giving them 4 every Monday, but we've been waiting for 5 months for them to tell us they're ready for us to start again. So I was trying to ask when they would be ready to accept our 4 again, but I don't have very much of a welcoming response.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. And Mr. Mayor, the colors that would be on the map that your office prepared.
Red to green.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Thank y'all so much for y'all's support.
Well, I have questions. I've been waiting,
Yes.
and it just trembled all over me.
Don't feel like I'm one.
I understand, listen, I know, but, I'm trying to make everybody understand. And with all due respect to the mayor and the chair and all the listening audience and whatever, we set in place the card system, okay? It's a recognized part of our meeting. If you want to speak, you sign a card.
I did.
Okay. You cannot deny due process. It's an open meeting. Okay? Now, if the council feels, well, I guess I'll start with the mayor, if the mayor feels that he does not want participation from the audience, okay, you still have to come to us to either put an up or down vote on whether we use the card system. I'm trying to figure this out because a timeline is set by the body, the governing body, okay? As a council member, I am, and I'll say it like it is, I am entitled to question and answer. I'm not obligated to the 5-minute rule, okay? If I want to filibuster up here until we come back here next Wednesday, that's my prerogative. So when the meeting starts, I'll take over again, okay? We're starting to let this get out of hand, and it looks, and I'm just saying through transparency, why would you take away someone, expression of what's going on because of a clock. Because sometimes it takes 10 minutes just to identify what the problem is. No one asked a real question, and I'm trying to stay under the 5-minute rule. I don't want no messing. Whatever happened to Cat talking to supposedly the attorney that we're supposed to hire to handle what they do? Okay? Last time we came about $200,000. Y'all do remember that? When this first started, we asked the question, what type of finances are we looking at? We asked the organization, do y'all need money? There's a line item for everything, as long as it benefits all the city. We put ourselves in a bad jurisdiction over here because, people are asking questions here. Why is it that y'all council doesn't allow the people to talk, the citizens of Crowley to talk? In committee, the chair has the power of the gavel. Okay? The mayor, you oversees the meeting, as to bring the meeting to order. Okay, if I'm wrong, hey, prove me wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. When it comes down to the regular meeting, which is gonna be next week, that's your meeting. You control from the time it goes, who talk and everything else. But we are a legislative body. We cannot hear from the public what's bothering them. How can we do our job? Okay? These three, and I'm gonna give it to you straight up, what Mr. Hughes gave right here. This goes from his hand to the chair. The chair is obligated to bring that and get answers. So it'd be you representing our council to go sit down with the mayor. All three of his questions needs to be answered. Okay? When we reconvene or come back in, Mr. Hughes can just ask a question. Okay, Mr. Chair, give me my answers. That's not being allowed. I mean, I don't understand it. This is a volunteer organization. They was on television the other day. And I made sure, yeah, that's from Crowley right there. Just want to let you know. Let's quit trying to take people, and it looks like there's a problem, but nobody wants to talk about it. Okay? Let the chair do his job or her job. Let the mayor do his job. And let's work together. Because we got too many things going on in this little city to not recognize everybody's opinion. If you get 10 people in the room, you're gonna come up with 10 opinions. But if you get all 10 in the room and start saying, okay, what did you like about it? What did you come out there with one? It's called a jury process. So I know I'm at my 5 minutes, but I just want to say, please. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Next, we have any other legal items to come before the committee. And I would like to state for the record that I submitted 8 agenda items and 7 were denied by the mayor Monso, which I feel is a direct violation of section 2-4A of the Code of Ordinances, which we passed last September. Thank you. And now we'll recess the meeting.
Thank you. Next, public buildings.
Public Buildings Committee convened, we had a forum. On the action item, there was none. On the discussion item, there was none. Was there any other business coming before the public buildings?
I just have one thing.
Go to Council one.
And it is what it is. What's going on at the MLK? We talk about it every meeting. Mayor, how far are we with, I think you were saying that you was getting,
I gave you the answer last month, and I'm gonna give you the same answer this month, in which, as you say, it is what it is. Facility and planning has the bids. I'm sorry, I'm thinking apart. The contractors that I gave him the plans to request bidding, I have not got my prices back yet.
okay. All right, with that being said, I don't want to take away from, because we had discussed this about the chief of police. Is there any way public buildings can come up with a budget until we get this restroom built, that instead of taking away from recreation funds, can public buildings come up with a line item to take care of people working at the MLK Center when there's activities going on, especially on the weekend?
You'll have to get with Peter, he was answering that question for you earlier.
But that's what I'm saying, but I still ask the question because we
The
have
money,
public
are
buildings.
you referring to the money that's being spent on the MLK bathroom?
No, we're not talking
You're
about the
just
money.
asking about people.
No, we're talking about people
Ask your
working.
question one more time.
Okay, people working during the weekends to make sure instead of bringing, I think, I'm not trying to do anybody out of business, but I don't know what the portal has cost or whatever, but I'm trying to say, until we get the restrooms built, let's put some humanity out there. Because like I mentioned, whether that building is open or not, it's heated and cooled.
Okay, so I'm gonna answer it this way. Peter gave you an answer, I think you asked him the same question, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's wait for his answer, because you asked him that question.
Okay.
That's his budget, that's his department, and I respect his answer.
But man, I wanna take it away from his budget and put it on public buildings. Can that be done? Well, that's what I'm saying, put a budget for public buildings. And if you do that, you won't worry about the police chief taking money out of his budget to get the building fixed.
Okay.
You know, just like FYI, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but if public buildings have their own budget, then we can identify the problem that each building has.
Public building is a committee step. Mr. Martin, it's a committee. That's not how the budget's situated.
But what I'm saying, we can, as a legislative body, we can turn that into whether, I wouldn't, put somebody in charge of just public buildings. Let there be a, department head for public buildings.
There is a department head for every single building of their own, if that makes sense. Just like fire is in charge of his, recreation's in charge of his. He's also in charge of MLK, wastewater's in charge of his. They're all in charge of their own building.
But that's what I'm saying, but whenever there's a need for money to maintain these buildings, it's taken out of their budget. Why can't we establish
Of course,
something?
it has to be taken out of their budget.
But, but Mayor, look, what I'm asking is, we have public buildings, the city probably own the buildings. Is there any way, just FYI, that the council can come up with some type of, resolution to put public buildings in its own house? In other words, if someone come over here and say, I wanna rent the, Wells Fargo building, okay, well, you gotta go to public buildings. Just like you have public works, you go to the public buildings.
My recommendation, as far as the budget's concerned, my recommendation, and I understand your point. It's like you wanna take and put one big umbrella, a bunch of money, just in that one big fund to oversee all of the buildings in Crowley. No, it needs to still be tracked, but my recommendation is to have that department head, if you may, as a council member, you may see a need for something that you are requesting right now.
Right.
Go to that department head and ask them if they would have that in their budget, if it could be possible.
But they have other things that they do. Just like recreation, he's doing baseball, he's doing,
Well,
basketball.
but I'm gonna be specific, you just asked about if you could have, let's get community, and let's see if we can get somebody to work during the weekend or whatever, over there.
No, Mayor. That's
Open it up.
there, but the question is, can we take public buildings, and
No,
put
sir.
it on its own line item in the budget?
No, sir.
That's all right, that's all I want. Thank you.
Any more questions coming from public buildings? There'll be none public buildings recess.
Thank you. Next, insurance and personnel, Ms. Kim Stringfellow.
Thank you, Mayor. Insurance and Personnel Committee will convene, we have a forum. There were no action items, I did have an item, on my agenda, but it was removed. I wanted to, go into executive session and discuss, some things that have legally come across, our desk and to our attention, and hopefully those will be able to be discussed when our attorney is here. Does anyone have any other things Insurance and Personnel Committee, and we will recess.
Thank you. Next, Community and Economic Development, Mr. Reagan.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a form here. I'll start with Apartment Clubhouse for the report. They'll be having their faux flower show with the residents of Southwind Assisted Living. And for the new members, they want to bring some flowers and containers to help with the residents doing some flower arrangements, which will be judged and ribbons awarded. Under Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development, they're still working on a couple of projects. There's a groundbreaking next week for FIZOs, and there will be a small invitation only, I'm guessing, probably because of COVID, possibly, shouldn't say. And then on the chamber side, the annual hospital update breakfast is February 24th, and the state of the parish luncheon is March 25th. And then under tourism, she's still working on the Mardi Gras, which is on March 1st. And the Rice City Car and Tractor Show is May 28th, 2022. And I caught a meeting this week with them, and we're working on some of the details. Which you'll see here for Crowley Main Street.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jill Habits. I'm representing Crowley Main Street today. I kind of wanted to come in and give you a little report on what Crowley Main Street has been doing and up to and what's going on. We certainly appreciate the council's support. We appreciate the city as a partner for what we're doing and bringing economic development to our little city. The Crowley Main Street Board unfortunately did get some not good news this Monday. It's good news for someone, and we're very excited for her. But our Main Street Director, Ms. Jamie Morrison, has resigned and will be taking a position in Lafayette. It's a wonderful position for her. I completely understand why she has decided to take it. It's going to help her in her future careers and what her goals are. We're very sad to see her go because she has done a phenomenal job for this program. She's leaving on great terms. Again, we're sad to see her go, but I personally understand why she's taking the step, and I don't fault her for it. But we appreciate everything that she's done for this program. Her last day will be Monday, February 14th. So, we are going to be, I wanted to come before the Economic Development Committee and let you guys know that this is happening. And we will be, the Main Street Board will again be putting out a request and starting the hiring process again for a Main Street Director. So we hope we find someone as energetic and as great a job as Jamie has done. But the board is committed to this organization. We are committed to our mission of continuing economic development for the city of Crowley. We have a lot of projects that we have already we started. We are continuing, and we will just continue on with our mission and hopefully find a replacement that will be a good fit. Some of the things we've been working on, as you all know, we do have a grant that the city got for the Historic District Commission and expanding some of the boundaries. That is on track for completion. Ms. Jessica Richardson has been in contact, of course, with Crowley Main Street and also working with the Historic District Commission Chair, Ms. Claire Doré. We've been in constant contact, so that's moving along and it's going along well. Also, we're very excited that Crowley Main Street has initiated a new local mini facade grant. And we had 3 people, 3 businesses, and 3 property owners that applied this year. So we were very happy we were able to fund all the projects. So there's 3 of them. We had one that the Crowley Fire Department applied for a sign, which they received a grant. Also, Ms. Margaret East for her building received a grant, and then also David Moe. So they're doing some work on their building, so we're really excited about that. So in total, Crowley Main Street is investing $4,912 into these projects, and of course, the business owners have to provide a 50% match. We have decided, since we do have some funds still left in that program, that it's going to be, we're gonna offer it again to the downtown community or the Main Street district, and hopefully it will continually be a revolving fund, as long as funds allow. So we're really excited about that, and we're hoping that, we've had a lot of interest, and I'm hoping more people will apply. So I think that's a very positive thing. Also, we have Valentine's Day promotion, this February. I think that's going well. We've got a lot of entries. If you follow our Facebook and social media feeds, you'll know that we've been putting up a lot about that. It's kind of titled Love Local Letters, and we've been getting a lot of response from that. Also, we talked about that. Yeah. We have a lot of events that are basically all set with different dates. So I hope to be back next month as an action item to tell you all about that and give you some dates of what we have coming up. In March, though, we do have the History Alive tours that are back. Those have been very popular. So if anybody's interested in taking that History Alive tour, it's back. So we're really happy. So I just want to thank all for allowing us to have the opportunity every month to come give a report. And we thank you for your partnership.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are the History Alive, is it the same route? Or are they gonna change up a little bit?
We might tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's been very, very popular. It's sold out fast, so.
Yes. Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. And actually, other communities, it's been so popular on our social media feeds that other Main Street communities have kind of piggybacked off of what we're doing, so. It's pretty good. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir. Appreciate it.
All right, under action items, this month I have none, discussion items I have none, and any legal items come before community and economic development, I will recess.
Thank you. Next, Revenue and Finance, Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Revenue Finance Committee convened, there is a quorum, there is no business to come before the committee, the committee will recess.
Gotta be a different way to do things, man. All right, y'all have, all right. All right,
Tell Tori we say hello to.
man, I'll be getting with you. I got more people I gotta talk to, but I'll be getting with you.
Okay.